All right, folks, get comfortable. Scott Wilson, Will Castle, and yours truly sat down for some NFL talk. We use PredictionMachine.com, free plug, as they predicted everybody's record by the end of the year, if I can spit that out. We used that to determine, are they right, are they wrong, and what do we think? And we talked just general NFL as well. Scott Wilson, Will Castle, Bob Alvis, NFL Talk. Chew on this on the Sports Buffet podcast. NFC West. Niners winning division 9-7, Seattle second 8-8, then Arizona and St. Louis 7-9. I think 7-9 is very generous for the Rams. Very generous.
I think the Niners do a lot better than 9-7 in that division.
Yeah. And
I'm a believer in Harbaugh. I think
the Niners at best 10-6.
Why?
I think last year was a fluke. Didn't they bring in a very good receiver though?
Randy Moss.
Well, okay. They brought in a very good receiver from 10 years ago. I mean, moving up, the NFC South. Falcons 9-7. By the way, the AFC West playoff team, by the way, was the Chargers, no wild card. The NFC West playoff team was the Niners, obviously. Falcons at 9-7. Saints right there at 9-7, 8-8. Panthers at 7-9. The Bucks at 5-11. I'll give you the Bucks, maybe even a little bit worse, to be honest with you. Panthers, I think 8-8 is a possibility, but you gotta be careful with that Cam aid too. I mean, lay off the fig Newtons because that could have been a fluke too. I mean, he's not throwing and just running for as many as he did last year. I'll just about promise you that.
I think New Orleans is the biggest wild card this season.
Everyone else
be good, and they could be another disaster like the Jets.
Everyone else's win-loss in that division is so dependent on what the Saints.
I don't think they're a disaster, though.
I think they could be.
I don't think so. Convince me.
I don't think I need to say much. I mean, Bounty.
Okay, but
Bounty
if
game.
Drew Brees had not signed and had been in camp, I'll give you that.
I think you got a lot of distractions.
I think Drew Brees will help manage those distractions.
It depends on how. It depends on how Drew leads that team. I mean, I'm assuming that he is the leader of that team, and they listen to him. Correct?
I would assume. I mean, we've seen no finger pointing. We've seen no ill will. We've never seen anything out of Drew Brees. I don't think Bountygate divided the Saints. I think Bountygate really kind
almost brought them
a little bit together.
Brought them together.
But they are losing talent, and then you're losing their head coach.
But they're not losing Drew Brees.
Right.
I mean,
I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I'm just saying they could be.
You said a train wreck.
I said they could be good or they could be a disaster.
What's the worst you think they could be?
6-10.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay. I don't think they're any worse than 7-9. Maybe I'll give you 2.
Oh, well, what a big difference.
I mean, I think honestly they're right around 9-7. But I mean, the other thing too is I don't ever this is actually a concern, I guess. I mean, Saints could get thumped in some of these games that they have to play, because the defense is not as good. Let's just look at the Saints schedule briefly. Week 1, it starts off with the Redskins at home. Hope that's a win. Week 2, on the road at Carolina. Week 3, they host the Chiefs. Week 4,
it's a pretty favorable start.
Very favorable.
Week 4, they're at Green Bay.
Okay.
Week 5, they've got the Chargers at home on Sunday night. Week 6, they have the bye. Week 7, they're at Tampa. Tampa normally gets them one time, which could happen again. Week 8, they're at Denver on a Sunday night. I think they can win that game. Week 9, they've got the Eagles on Monday night. Week 10, they've got the Falcons on a Sunday afternoon. Week 11, they have the Raiders in Oakland. Week 12, they have the 49ers at home. I think that's a win. Week 13, they're on the road on Thursday night against the Falcons again. Week 14, they have the Giants in the Meadowlands. Week 15, if they still call it the Meadowlands. Week 15, they have the Bucks at home. Week 16, they have Dallas in Dallas, and they close it out in Week 17 with the Panthers at home.
It's a pretty good schedule.
And that Dallas game
good as in
will
harder.
not be on local because the Redskins are playing the Eagles.
Well, they do play AFC West, so that helps.
You could be right.
And they play the NFC East.
I'll come around and say you could be right, but I don't see this being a disaster to where it's finger pointing issues and things of that sort. I mean, they don't have a running game, but when they ever needed a running game, they also don't have Robert Meacham now as he's in San Diego. Moving on to the end, but I am big on the Falcons. I think Falcons are going to have a good year. I think Julio Jones could have a breakout. We'll do our fantasy preview next time, maybe. NFC North, 2 playoff teams out of this division. Green Bay, they have them 11-5, 10-6. Lions follow right at 9-7. Bears are at 9-7, but do not make the playoffs, and the Vikings finish 5-11. Bears don't make the playoffs. Lovie Smith is out.
Yeah.
And he could be in Dallas next year, which wouldn't shock me one bit. Detroit scares me. Not only because Megatron was on the cover of Madden, but I think Matt Stafford
scares you because you think they could take a step down?
Yes. I think Matt Stafford could get hurt, and Javid Best is probably, I don't know if he's ever back.
He's due for at least a good one injury.
I don't even think he's cleared right now, really.
Really?
So, I mean, and the defense is a bunch of hoodlums and thugs. I don't know if they're all going to be, you talk about the Saints defense.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lions.
Goodell's got an eye on them.
Right. So, Scott?
About the Lions?
Yes, please.
I think they're borderline playoff team. I mean, I think they, to me, were more of a fluke than the 49ers last year. And they're playing in a really tough division. I could see the Bears finishing ahead of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and honestly, it's possible that the North has 3 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because it really comes down to what the East is, what the East does, really.
And let's get to that East. Eagles 11-5 in first place, playoff team, obviously. Giants 9-7, playoff team. Dallas 8-8, Washington 7-9. I'll just let you guys do the podcast now, and I'll just sit here and take a break.
I just don't see how the Eagles are going to win 11 games against that division.
I don't either.
And I don't see
Vic staying healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't. He.
Time to play the game. Let's look at the Eagles' schedule, shall we?
First, we have to predict which week Vic gets hurt.
Yeah.
Week 1 at Cleveland.
That's
Win.
Well, we're all starting off on the right foot together. We can win that old 6-legged race. Week 2, Baltimore at home. I'm going to give that a win.
Yeah, I'll say win.
Yeah.
Still going step for step. Week 3, at Arizona.
That almost seemed like it's a trap game.
It's a trap.
But I still say win.
I say win too.
Okay, I'm going to give it a loss. Week 4. And let me just preface, I'm not the Eagle hater at this table at all. I have Vic on my fantasy team for heaven's sake, so I hope he does do well.
You were Switzerland in this.
Week 4, the Giants at home. I'm going to say a win.
I'll say loss.
Loss.
That's a Sunday night game, by the way. Does that change?
No.
Okay.
I even more say loss.
Okay. Week 5.
Giants seem to do some crap on Sunday.
Week 5, they are on the road at Pittsburgh.
Loss.
I'm going to go win. Week 6, Detroit at home.
I say they go on a slide and lose again.
It wouldn't surprise me if Vic gets hurt in Pittsburgh.
See, I think week 6 though is when Stafford gets hurt in Philadelphia.
So it's the backup against the backup.
I don't have Vic getting hurt yet. I don't have Vic getting hurt yet. He's on my fantasy team. I'm going to keep him around
So
at least.
who's after Pittsburgh?
Detroit. You haven't made that pick.
At home.
1 o'clock on Fox.
I think it's a win.
Big Stockton Broadcasting.
No.
All right, week 7. Bye. Week 8. Atlanta at home.
Off a bye week, I'll say win.
I'm gonna say loss. Because like if Atlanta has their swagger, I think Atlanta can pull that off.
Week 9. New Orleans at New Orleans Monday night.
Loss.
We all agree on that. Week 10.
That potentially has a very chance of a high-scoring game, though.
Week 10. Dallas at home.
Not till week 10 they finally play each other.
And they haven't played the Redskins yet.
Jeez, they just cramming all the last 6 weeks.
I'm going to go loss.
I'll say win.
Where at?
In Philly.
In Philly. 425. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on the call. It's either that or they're in.
Yeah, I'm gonna go loss.
Week 11, Washington, in Washington.
Win.
I'm going to go loss. I think this is where the slide starts. Week 12, Monday night against the Panthers.
Where?
Home. Pardon me. I'm going to go win. Week 13,
That's a Monday night game.
at Dallas.
Loss.
I'm going to go win. Vic's back by this point.
You never had him leaving.
I did. I had him leaving. Yeah, I did. Do you want me to tell you what game it was?
No.
It was against the Redskins.
Well, they knocked him out a couple years ago.
Week 14 at Tampa Bay. I would hope they could win with the third stringer in that one. I'm going to go win.
All right, fine. Win. You've convinced me.
You would have been dismissed as golf expert if you'd picked.
That makes no sense.
I know. Well, nor would you picking the Eagles to beat Tampa Bay. It makes equal
Road
sense.
game.
Are the cannons going to shoot onto the field?
It's possible. Warren Sapp comes from the heaven.
I hope
It's a win.
win.
It's
Okay.
a win. Yeah, I thought I said that.
No, I didn't hear you. Scott was distracting me with his.
He was distracting with science
Golf
knowledge.
Bengals at home, week 15 on Thursday night.
Win.
I'm going to go loss.
They have them.
I'm going to go loss on that one.
They have them. Okay, so they have them.
Week 16, Redskins at home. I'm gonna go win.
Yeah.
I should go loss this time. I think.
Week 17. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just think. I think by then, I think RG3. I think Redskins. It'll be one of those things where end of the year, and it's the. Are they in the right direction for next year? Conversation for Washington. And I think
Week 17 at the Giants.
Loss.
Because by then Eli will pull something out of his special little helmet.
Well, here's the thing too.
And good.
You know, if Michael Vick comes back and has a better year than he had last year, which I hope it can't get much worse, does LaShawn McCoy have as good of a year as he had last year? I'm going to bet no on that one.
Who's Philadelphia's backup this year?
It's still Vince Young.
It is still Vince Young? I thought they had rid of him.
Scott and I again, right on target at 10-6.
Really?
Will Castle 8-8.
Okay. They'll probably go at least 7-9, but
What?
But I mean, it's just some more.
You have them at 8-8. Of course they'll go 7-9.
I mean,
They'll win if they. If you have an 8-8. I bet they win 7.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, okay, whatever. Shut up.
Could be an interesting division. I mean, it's normally
Always an interesting.
Yeah.
It's normally always the most interesting division of football. I mean, you know, let's be honest. The AFC West the AFC West I think is one of the better divisions this year in terms of talent. Mm-hmm. At least on what's behind the center.
It's at least one of the most interesting.
But I mean, we could argue this in terms of East Coast, West Coast. And I know NFL is a little bit different, but than every other sport because ESPN and the NFL Network and every publication and news organization makes it different. But do you think there's West Coast bias like there is in other sports with the NFL?
You mean
East Coast
less favorably?
Well, West Coast. Either way. I mean, you can argue. No, I would say it's more West Coast bias in terms of not paying attention to the West Coast.
That's you generally call that an East Coast bias.
Or whatever. However you want to look at it. People don't like the left side. People like the right side.
I think there could be.
Here's the difference, though, in my opinion. With baseball and the NBA, if you want to watch the Lakers or the Dodgers, you got to stay up until about 10:05.
Yeah.
If you want to watch the Chargers,
Start the game.
if you want to watch the Chargers or the Raiders, you got to stay up till 4:05, and that's not AM, that's PM. So I mean, I don't know that there's the NFL bias just because I feel like we know, the toothpaste flavor of the Rams with all the coverage that the NFL Network and I'm not saying I dislike the NFL Network. I wish ESPN would balance out their football coverage a little bit better, but
what team in the West is one of those like top 5 franchise that has so many fans across the country? Most of those
Used to be the
teams,
Raiders.
most of those teams are in the east or the central part of the
I
country.
mean, that's.
I would argue at one point the Raiders were a top 5.
I'm not
most
saying at
popular
one point. I'm
organization.
saying right now.
I'm sorry. It would be nice if they did the schedule where half the games are at 1, the other half's at 4.
Who does that help?
Anyone?
I don't understand.
Here's what sucks is that even if you have DirecTV, even if you got the Sunday ticket, you potentially have 3 to 4 games on at 1 o'clock that you like. Oh, these are good games. Too bad I can't.
I kind of get what you're
But then the 4 o'clock game comes. And there are 3 games being played. Normally, Arizona, Seattle are in them, and they're crap on stick.
And for us non-DirecTV people, there's one game at 4 o'clock. That game is 28-3, and you're sitting at home twiddling your thumbs. Going,
Well,
"Why
Scott,
am I
if you
watching
would
this?"
like to pitch in, I will gladly take donations, and you can watch any game you want to at this house.
Thank you, but
Well, you're welcome. I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to get Sunday tickets. I need donations.
I'm just saying that is an issue for people too. What do you think of the moving the times back a little bit?
I think that's
You're starting at 4:25 instead of 4:15.
good if you want to record the games and get a doubleheader in.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, if I ever tried to record a 1 to 4:15, I had to hope that 1 o'clock game went by like clockwork.
I would say memo to CBS: move 60 minutes to 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I thought that was.
Well, I mean, what really sucks is that they never did that, and then every show got pushed back.
I'm pretty
20
sure they
40
have.
minutes, and then
I thought they had done that at least on the weeks where they have.
They've never done that before.
nope.
You sure?
Yes.
Oh, I thought I saw in the new fall schedule where they moved it to 8.
Maybe this year.
Yeah, no,
But
that's what I'm saying.
in years past, it was 'cause especially for people to watch the Amazing Race.
Well, what are they going to do on days when they don't have a 4 o'clock game?
They'll probably they'll run an old episode of something on CBS, maybe an episode of The Good Wife,
Or run an old 60 Minutes.
yeah.
They've done it.
Because what Fox finally figured out after years is when they had 7 o'clock programming, they realized, wait a minute, almost every time this show's getting preempted, and they stopped and they had the OT
at 7:30.
at 7:30, and then it's like, if it's only running 2 minutes, that's fine.
Yeah, I wonder. Now I don't know if CBS can put like an NFL postgame show for an hour. I have a feeling that's probably some conflict.
Probably.
For a half hour.
Well, yeah, but what are you going to put from 7 to 7:30?
Well, the games aren't going to be over at 7.
Well, you're saying if CBS didn't have a doubleheader.
Then they won't have a...
But I mean,
they'll schedule something at 7.
But see, here's the thing too, though. If CBS doesn't have the doubleheader, I mean, I can look at this schedule, and except for week 1 when they have the U.S. Open, they always have a game at 4, whether you see it or not. They always have a game at 4, though.
Yeah.
So
but that's
that doesn't matter.
That's 4 o'clock.
What does matter?
That's 4 o'clock in the West, which means that in the West they don't see the
No,
7
it's
o'clock.
What?
It's 1 o'clock in the West.
Yes, it's 1 o'clock in the West.
Well, yeah, but
Right.
So they don't have to worry about running into prime time.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me. But there have been times where we have seen a 4 o'clock game on CBS without seeing a 1. That does happen every now and again.
okay, yes.
Well, okay.
But-
It doesn't just happen to us people in Virginia.
Well, where are you going with this?
That you can still start 60 minutes at 8 o'clock every week.
Well, but that's why programming is a lot of times from station to station in terms of, all right, they'll say, all right, you look at this satellite, you're getting this. That ABC, they can have 2 games going on. They'll send, all right, to this satellite, it's going to see this game, to this going to this game. So us here in Lynchburg, if there's no 4 o'clock game on at 7 o'clock, we're probably seeing a rerun of Blue Bloods.
Okay, well that's my point though.
Yeah.
I'm still saying that just because we're not getting the game doesn't mean somebody else in the East Coast is not getting the game. So therefore, I think 60 minutes would start at 8 o'clock for everybody.
Yes, that's the yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then we took the long way around the
We
parking lot on
really
that one. All right, let me get to the playoffs real quick because I know we have to wrap up here at some point soon. Philly over New England in the Super Bowl. According to these people at PredictionMachine.com, I pimped your website greatly, by the way. Championship games: Philadelphia over Green Bay, New England over Houston. I don't think they had any lower-seeded teams upsetting a higher-seeded team. So
Green Bay over Houston.
I said Philly over Green Bay, New England over Houston.
Oh, okay.
So just
They
pretend
do it by computer. I doubt they're going to have the lower seed.
So pretend every team that wins has got a home game in the playoffs. That divisional round, Philly over Atlanta, Green Bay over San Francisco, New England over San Diego, and Houston over Pittsburgh. I don't see that happening. The wild card round, Pittsburgh would beat Buffalo, San Diego over Baltimore, Atlanta over Detroit, and San Fran over the Giants.
They're full of shit.
Okay.
Just prediction, and in the words of Chris Berman, that's why they play
PredictionMachine.com will cast.
They're just throwing spaghetti against the wall.
Yep, see what sticks.
While we're all here, ranking the quarterbacks by division. For those of you in podcast land that do not understand what I mean by that, we are going to take the overall quarterbacks by the divisions and rank them as a division.
The 8 divisions are.
If you are a devout listener to this podcast, you will know that we ranked each quarterback by playoffs that one year. Right now, we are ranking divisions as a whole. And nobody prepped on this, I'm assuming, beforehand.
Correct. 4 quarterbacks are as one.
Yes.
Yes.
And I don't think that you can, again, because I had this argument with Jermaine Farrell, who will be a guest at some point on this podcast, with a different group of you on this, because we want to mix it up a little bit. And my thing is, Robert Griffin's resume looks like this. For those of you that cannot see, it's a blank sheet of paper. Because he tried to rank the NFC East over the AFC West. I don't think you can do that right now. Shall we all go at the same time and go bottom to top? Or top to bottom? Or does everybody need a sheet of paper to scribble down their choices?
I'm trying to remember.
Why don't you kind of go over...
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, the quarterbacks in each division.
AFC East. And we're talking just starters, by the way. We're not talking the backups. However, if there's a quarterback battle, you can combine them as one. But chances are, if there's a quarterback battle, you're not having them first.
Yeah.
Sorry. AFC East. Tom Brady. Sanchez Tebow. Fitzpatrick. Tannehill and Garrard.
Or more.
Or more. Am I just continuing down, or are we ranking them now? With this subject to change?
It's up to you.
I mean, I can't see really well.
I thought we were ranking them as groups, right? We're doing each individual division.
Well, I mean, we're going to have a 1 through 8.
Ranking them as groups.
Yeah.
As a division.
Yes.
Okay.
Did I miss something?
No, we were just clarifying.
AFC, now are we stopping, or are we going through the whole thing first and then coming back?
I got those in my head.
Okay. AFC North, you've got Roethlisberger, Flacco, Dalton, and what is it? Whedon? Brandon?
Whedon.
Whedon?
Yes.
Do they have it's Colt McCoy? Okay. AFC South, Schaub, Hasselbeck still in Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hasselbeck / Locker, Sunshine Bass, and I don't know who else they got, and Andrew Luck. West, Rivers, Manning, Castle, Palmer.
That is such a clear one.
We'll get to that in a moment. NFC West, you would have Alex Smith, Matt Flynn, Kevin Cobb, I assume, starter.
Or Skelton.
And Sam Bradford. NFC South, you would have Ryan, Breeze, Newton, Freeman. NFC North, you would have Rodgers, Stafford, Cutler, Ponder. NFC East, you would have Vic, Manning, Romo, Griffin. I think we can say without question, top to bottom, if we're doing it by conference, the NFC has got, much better than the AFC. I don't even think that's arguable.
Got more depth.
Yes. With that being
said,
at
the bottom?
I would like to. Shall I go first?
Sure. I got two contenders.
I know who my top 3 are. I'm trying to think mine.
Do you have your 8? Because I'm still thinking.
I don't have anything written down or anything.
Do you need a piece of paper? Or well, we're subject to change.
Yeah.
Right now, 8, I would have to go...
You have your paper there?
I do. 8, I would have to go with the NFC West, I believe.
Oh, good. We can disagree. That was my other choice, but my first inclination was AFC South.
They're my 7th.
I would put the NFC West 7 though.
I will.
We'll get your paper there. Sorry.
Why the AFC South? 8.
I mean, your best quarterback is Schaub, who's okay.
Who's better than Alex Smith?
Puts up a lot of numbers. But I think once you get past that, you got a pretty big drop-off to an unproven second-year quarterback. Sunshine, as you would say.
Yes, Ronnie Bass.
Hasselbeck v.
South
Locker.
last for me. AFC South.
Okay.
And then a rookie. Playing on a team that won, 2 games last year?
Sounds about right.
All right, so Will's in agreement with you, so congratulations as this handicap match continues. 6th, I'm going to go AFC East. And that's kind of sad when I'm putting the AFC East there with Brady in the division.
That's because the rest of that is... I would almost say...
I'll go with you.
I would almost say the North, but Roethlisberger puts them... Roethlisberger and Flacco helps that enough to where I...
At least they have 2.
So you're going AFC East?
I'll go with you, yeah.
Yeah, East. AFC.
5th?
Yeah, I think I would go with the North.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the Browns really weigh that down for me, honestly. I mean, the other 3 I can deal with, but the Browns just really, really weigh that down. 4th.
I think I would go with the NFC South.
I'm in agreement.
Yep.
3rd.
NFC East for me.
I agree.
What do we have left?
The
Of the North and the North, the East, and the
West.
AFC
the
West.
AFC West.
But we're waiting for your 3rd.
I'll go with you guys.
2nd?
NFC North.
Yep.
God, this turned out to be a very unfun game. Thought we'd have more disagreement here.
Save that for your other 2 on.
I'm going to have to because, I mean, I will say this though. I think there's a gap from there's
a gap from 3 to 4.
See, I think the gap is 1 through 5. I think is somewhat. I think 4 and 5 are only a shot or 2 back of par in terms of their shot or 2 back of the leaders. 6, 7, and 8 missed the cut. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's that much. It's that much of a gap.
8's on the nationwide tour.
Yeah, 8 didn't even get their nationwide tour card. They're playing on the LPGA.
Makes no sense.
Well, I don't know.
Sure.
Well, what's above the nationwide tour? The
Well, you
putt-putt
just
tour?
said that they would play on the women's tour.
I mean, it's
Well, the women's tour is below the men's tour right now.
You
Last time I
look
checked,
at-
they have less tournaments.
You look at that East, the NFC East, and your question mark is RG3, flat out. You don't know what he's gonna do. It's like
Maybe we should revisit this then at the end of the year.
it's very, it's like you've seen what Vic can do. You've seen what Romo can do. You've seen what that special needs child can do.
But that special needs child has
It's 2
2
Super Bowls.
rings,
I know, that's what I'm saying.
and the NFC North only has 1.
But it's because Rodgers and Cutler, you take Cutler's attitude out of him, he's a damn good quarterback. And Stafford,
Very solid.
very solid. Ponder is your biggest weakness, but he has some NFL experience.
Well, if I had a whiteboard here, I'd draw up some equations. Ponder is greater than RG3.
right now,
Absolutely, right,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not
In
debatable.
Week 3, that could completely.
What are we going to do? The divisional quarterback ratings each week?
But and then you look at the West. Your weakest member, I think, is Castle. But
Castle or Palmer?
you know what Palmer can do. You know what Castle can do. But you almost in many ways you trade Palmer's experience and give him the edge.
He only
there.
out of the game 1 or 2 years.
Palmer. One.
Okay. I mean, the thing is though, like, let's pair the
Or
NFC.
1.5.
Let's pair the NFC North and the NFC East for just a moment. Best quarterback in the NFC North, Rodgers.
Yep.
All in agreement
Yes.
on that. I would say best quarterback in the NFC East, probably Manning.
Yes.
Begrudgingly.
All right, but I think the battle is won with the North between obviously 2 and 3, because I think Cutler and Stafford are probably both better than Romo and Vic. Now you could also argue too that Romo could be just as good in Detroit as Stafford is, because he would have the weapons and that offense is, I don't know. I mean, I guess Dallas throws just as much as Detroit, though, in a way.
Yeah, they do. It is also one of those. If you take the player on their best day, who do you stack up? I mean, here's the thing. No, and I'll say on Romo's best day ever, he's one of the best in the entire group. You got to take the
good with the bad, though.
But exactly, you do have to take the good with the bad, and when he's bad, he is.
But see, I would if we're going to take Romo, let's just play Romo and Vic. If we're taking Romo and Vic on their best day, I'm taking Vic.
It's close.
Yeah, it's close because because both their styles are.
Vic with his wideouts, I would say put him over the top. Slightly.
Yeah.
Who's his second wideout?
Besides Deshaun? Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying Deshaun and Macklin are better than Dez and Miles?
Yes. Absolutely.
I don't know that it's an absolute.
I think it's kind of one of those. Here's like of those four,
if this is going to cause you to pop a blood vessel,
well, no,
you're going to compliment Philadelphia. Don't do it.
No, it's kind of one of those.
I don't want to clean it up.
I think in 2 more seasons of those 4, Dez is 1, Miles is 4, Macklin and Deshaun are 2 and 3, and so it's like, is Miles is 4 so bad with 2 and 3? So it's.
I don't know. I don't think 2 and 3 can stay healthy. I mean, we could argue the same thing about Miles, but I think Miles is better than Macklin right now.
And Dez is not. He
can probably hold his mother up again. Or somebody, so he'll.
Yeah.
I mean, Vic with the feet though gives him the edge over Romo to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We settled nothing tonight on the NFL, folks. We still have a few weeks left till the season starts, so we'll do our official NFL preview and our fantasy preview for all you fantasy geeks out there. And until then, happy chewing.